You're listening to the Plumbing Sales Coach, where we give companies the strategies and skills to create a massive customer following.
Fresh.
Thank you for making us part of Spotify's top 10% most shared and followed podcast. And now, your host, Chris.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Fresh Approach. I'm your host, CF, the Plumbing Sales Coach. Today, we're going to talk about how to sell in-service plumbing. How do we sell? And this is really true for anything that you sell. The framework doesn't change. The application might be slightly different, but the framework does not change. There are a lot of people out there that will buy things, but they won't buy them from certain people. They won't buy them in certain circumstances, and they definitely don't want to be convinced or told or sold. And so we're going to talk about what that looks like inside the home. Look, one of the things that I've been, when I was younger, I used to sell AOL. I had to keep people from canceling. Then I got a little older and I started working I worked at Angie's List, worked at CarMax, and those are harder sales. In plumbing and in HVAC and in the home services world, people are usually coming to us with an active problem. That makes it more convertible. It makes it easier to convert. You might not be able to sell a softener to someone that doesn't have one, but you can definitely sell a fill valve to someone who has a running toilet or a toilet that's leaking. And you could definitely sell a cartridge to someone that has a a faucet issue or a shower valve issue. And so those things are sellable because customers are already actively having a problem. They need it. But it would definitely be easier to sell a car to someone who was broke down on the side of the road than someone who drove in their car that still operates and they've got time to think about it. I've been in situations where I've had to buy something. Maybe I just moved to town or I'm in a new city or I'm somewhere. I remember one time in Cleveland, I had to buy a suit in Cleveland. It wasn't like I had days to shop. I had traveled from Indianapolis to Cleveland. I had to buy the suit in Cleveland because I had to wear the suit in Pennsylvania. And I only had about an 8-hour drive ahead of me to get there. And I had to get that suit. So someone else was doing a conference. They were speaking while I went and found the suit. I had one store. I had to make it work. Wasn't like I could be I don't really like the color. I don't really like the price. I had to buy what I could find, what I was available. So somebody was selling me a suit that day. I was very convertible. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Because in plumbing, it's that way. And HVAC is that way. And in the home services trades, a lot of the times it's that way. Not always, but a lot of times, especially in plumbing, it's that way. So when we're talking about these conversion rates, you should have a much higher conversion rate. So let's walk through what that looks like. Now, again, no matter what you sell, no matter what you do, this is going to be the pattern. Number one is relationship. Number two is diagnose. Some people would call that discovery. And number three is value stack. That's my creative way of saying intelligent options or intelligent solutions. Now, that's the framework. So you might look at that and go, okay, relationship, diagnose, value stacking, that's the framework. But the actual process is a little bit different. The process is intro, pitch, diagnose, present, close. Intro, pitch, diagnose, present, close. You might even say it like intro, pitch, discovery, present, close. Meaning there's an introduction where I get to know you. There's a pitch that says I'm an expert, I'm a solution to your world. And then there's discovery. Let me learn more about your problem. Then there's the presentation. These are the things that I can do to solve your problem. And again, this is true for every industry. And plumbing specifically, it works the same, but this is how it looks. There's the introduction at the front door. Some might even argue there's the introduction at the CSR when they call in. And then there's the introduction at the front door. Then you go inside, you say, hey, my name's Chris. How you doing? Nice to meet you. The way I park my van, the way that I present myself, clothing, smell, just the way I look and behave. All of those are going to be first impressions. That's part of that introduction. Then I get into, hey, I'm Chris with ABC Plumbing Company. I'm here to take a look at your water heater. Sorry to hear you're going through this. That's kind of my pitch. I'm a plumber and I solve water heater problems. Now it's a specific pitch to their specific problem because they called in and already told us what the problem was with the CSR. I'm not getting hot water. My water heater's leaking. Again, HVAC, it's just not blowing out cold air in the winter or in the summer. It's not blowing out hotter in the winter. Whatever your problem is, that's what you're going there to diagnose. Your intro is, hey, I'm Chris. I'm awesome. And I know how to fix problems that you have. That's the intro and that's the pitch. Then we get into the discovery. Now, I've shortened that up to say relationship, diagnose, problem solve, or relationship, diagnose, value stack. So think about that. That's that relationship part. It incorporates the first two. The introduction and the pitch. Hey, my name's Chris. I've done plumbing before. Hopefully the CSR is like, yeah, I'm going to send Chris out there. He's worked on hundreds of water heaters. You're going to be in good hands. Hopefully they say something like that to build credibility and to put me in position to win. Then I show up and say, hey, I'm Chris. I'm here to look at your water heater. Unfortunately, I look at these all the time. I was on a water heater call yesterday. Or I just replaced a water heater down the street, or some sort of thing like that. That creates credibility. That's my pitch. That's my intro. I'm the right person. I look, smell good, feel good, and I'm confident. Confidence comes because I've done 100 of these. Product knowledge is where confidence comes from. So that's my introduction. That's my relationship. Now we move into diagnose. And I think this is crucial with diagnosing. A lot of times we go in there and one of two things happens. We either get tunnel vision or we go off on rabbit trails. So it means the faucet's dripping and I know it's the cartridge and I see it's a single handle Delta crystal ball valve or a crystal ball handle, and I'm like, I've a million of these, pull this thing off. I already know it. I might even have the cartridge on my truck. And I go, hey, look, I'm here. The problem you have right here is the cartridge. You got water going to the faucet. It works like a miniature dam. However, right now the dam's not sealing all the way, so it's letting water slip through. That's all that's going on here. I can repair this. Do you like the faucet? Do you have any problems with the faucet? Anything you wish was different about the faucet? Anything you love about the faucet? Now I'm in diagnosing. Now I'm in discovery. Now I'm learning more about the problem. Now I might know it's the valve. In fact, I probably knew it was the cartridge while I was driving to the house. But at the same time, I want to make sure that the customer's there with me and I'm not missing anything. So I can go to the doctor and tell them I have stomach aches, and there's probably about 10 different ways, maybe even 100 different ways to solve that. But they need to know some specifics before they go down giving me solutions, right? What if I've got an ulcer in my stomach? What if I've got a gallbladder issue in my stomach? What if I've got heartburn or indigestion in my stomach? What if I've got, unfortunately, some sort of cancer in my stomach? What if I have a hernia or something like that going on with my stomach? There's so many different things that could cause the symptom that my stomach hurts, but the problem may be very different for each person that has a stomach ache. Could have an allergy. I have a gluten allergy. Makes it feel like someone's in there with a Ginsu knife, just cutting me up if I get gluten in my body. Now, if I went to the doctor and said, it feels like someone's in there cutting me up, and they're like, let's get them out. And they put me on the surgery table and cut my stomach open and found out, well, there's no one in there. You just have a gluten allergy. Well, now I got a big scar on my stomach for no reason. But at the same time, if he tells me to stop eating gluten and I've got a gallbladder issue, I've got a gallbladder in my body that's going to keep causing me problems. That needs to come out. So we need to diagnose better. And it's not so much just diagnosing what they called us out there for, because look, it's not the customer's fault that they don't want what they don't know about. It's not the customer's fault that they don't want what they don't understand. That's just the reality of life. No one wants what they don't understand. No one wants what they don't know about. Because you can't. So it's our job to educate them. So I see the faucet. Like any mechanic, you need a new serpentine belt. But man, if it was me, I'd be throwing this car in the trash. You might be looking at how many faucets have you had to finagle to repair? You had to kind of play with it some. Yeah, why not offer them a new faucet? Why are they putting money into something like that? Now, they still get the choice to repair it, but they should also get the choice to replace it. And maybe they don't fully understand. They just see the drip. They don't realize that it's a bigger issue. Some of those things could be the why behind the what, meaning the what is the valve or the cartridge, but the why is more about high water pressure, water condition, age of the faucet. Like in this case, it's age of the faucet. So we need to diagnose more. But then there's this other thing going on where we got this relationship with this new person and we don't want to overwhelm them. Think about your first date. How many times do you go on a first date where either you or they, if you're a guy and you're dating a female, maybe you're the guy and she's the female, or it's a female and a guy, whatever the situation is, but they start talking on the first date. They start talking about how one day they want to have kids and they want to have horses and they want to have a house, and then you're like, I just want to go home. This is a little much for the first date. I was just interested in what kind of movies you like, or what kind of, do you like hamburgers? Do you like hot dogs? I wasn't interested. You already have names for your first two kids? Yeah, I'm out. Now you go into the home and you're like, oh, your faucet's dripping. You ever thought about buying a $4,000 water softener system for your? No, they haven't, and they're not ready to. Doesn't mean you can't sell the water softener on that call. Just not the right time to bring it up. Here's how that might look. And you can bring it up without bringing it up. For example, I could look at them and say, hey, you got some buildup on your faucets. Do you get that anywhere else in the house? Yeah, we get it everywhere. I bet you get it on your shower. Yeah, we get it. Well, all that's happening here is that's the residue. That's like the leftover. That's what made it out of the system. You got more of that going on there, and that's probably getting trapped inside that dam that I mentioned earlier that you have kind of holding the water back, so it's not closing all the way. Probably gonna have to replace the cartridge. If you want, we could offer you a new faucet because you may want to reset the whole thing. Let me take a look under your cabinet here and see if I can shut water off, because I'm gonna have to shut water off to this. So you look under there, you see those shutoffs are probably inferior, plastic stem, push pulls, corroded, multi-turn, corroded in corrosion, whatever this case is going on there. And you go, yeah, if I touch that, I'm probably going to cause a leak. You don't necessarily say that out loud. So you just go to the customer, hey, look, normally I would shut water off here to do it. Those look like they haven't been used in a while. Have you touched these? And they go, didn't even know they were down there. And you go, okay, well, tell you what, I don't want to cause a bigger problem here, but you see all that corrosion on them? That's the same corrosion on your faucet. Those can seize up, and if I turn it too hard, I might cause a leak. So what I'd rather do is go to your main and shut water off there. Can you take me there? And think about this for a second. The customer is not being told they need to buy new shutoffs. They're just being told that you can't use the shutoffs because they don't work. Isn't that kind of saying you need to buy new shutoffs without saying you need to buy new shutoffs? Like if I walk up to you and say, tie your shoe, you're going to be like, don't tell me what to do. But if I say, hey, bro, your shoe's untied, you're going to tie your shoe. I don't have to tell you to do it. I just have to point it out. Okay? In the same scenario in here, you're basically saying one step further, hey, I wouldn't wear those shoes with them untied because I might trip. So what I'm going to do, and then it's up to them to decide to tie their own shoes. But we're going to bring that back up later in the call. We're going to keep going down this path. We get to the main. I mean, it's highly unlikely that the main's going to be all brand new if everything else is old. It's highly unlikely that the main's not going to have any kind of buildup on it if everything else is all old. So we're probably likely, or we're going to see a nice new shiny quarter turn and be like, oh, what happened here? Did you have this replaced? This looks new. Like, yeah, I had a blah, 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 and then this happened. And oh, I bet that. And now guess what? They're starting to realize like, oh, you know what? My stomach's hurting today, but my knee was hurting last week. And I'm starting to think this is all connected. Like a month ago, I had them out here because my expansion tank leaked. They couldn't get the water shut off, so they replaced the main shut off. Well, now I'm here to work on your faucet, and I can't shut water off at the emergency stops. I can use the main because someone else replaced it, but it was in the same circumstance as everything else, just however long ago before they replaced the main. And you start to build a case. You start to put together a case. You start to have evidence. Factual evidence. No longer your best speeches or your best comments or your witty remarks that you can make in the home to get people to buy stuff. You have real evidence. Their shoes are untied. They can see that. They can see this. Show them, don't tell them. Look, the way I used to do this in cold calling when I would do things over the phone is I wouldn't tell the customers they had problems. I'd ask them. I just got really clever with my questions to make sure that I got the answers I wanted. If you see a shutoff that's corroded, it's very likely that the customer has not used that shutoff. So instead of telling them that's corroded and it won't work, ask them, have you used that? Have you been, well, they haven't? Well, okay, fine. I don't want to cause a problem here. And they're like, I don't want you to cause a problem either. I don't want to spend any unnecessary money as a consumer. So yeah, go use that main. Now later I can go, hey, what would you do? Are you familiar? I would say that's kind of the thing. What would you do? So it's kind of like if I'm looking at those shutoffs, I might say to the customer, okay, I'm going to use the main. Just curious though, if you had a problem somewhere else in the house with something and it was leaking, like this one's dripping into the drain, so you're lucky. But if it was just leaking onto the cabinet or leaking out of the toilet, how would you shut water off? Like, I would use the main. Say, oh, okay, that's cool. You can do that. The only downside to that is these shutoffs are meant to isolate the issue, so you can still use water in the rest of the home. Like if something happens on a weekend, you don't have to pay an emergency plumbing fee. This allows you to isolate and move on. If you use the main, then you're just not going to have any water in your house when you have a problem next time, which is no big deal. Like you can still function and live, right? And they're like, well, no, that is kind of and maybe it's not a big deal to them either. They're like, yeah, you're right. I'll just go without water for a day. Or maybe they go, yeah, no, that's a big deal. I don't want to do that. I actually don't want to do that. I would like to have those emergency stops. If I still keep building a case for a softener, now what I could do is at some point I can go back and say, hey, look, I'm going to give you a price to replace or repair the faucet. I'm going to give you a price to replace the faucet. If you do the replacement on the faucet, I can give you a discount on those shutoffs. Or maybe I could do buy one, get one free. Or maybe I can just do both the shutoffs for free because they're real easy. And I want to upgrade this to a new faucet. I want to go from a $350 call to a $750 call, or whatever it is for a kitchen faucet or whatever. And I want to be able to show them some extra value. So I could either go, if you do the faucet, I'll take $40 off. Or you could just say, well, I got the water off and I'm doing the faucet. I can throw in $40 in shutoffs. That's going to have $600, $500 of value. And now the customer's getting a deal. Well, then I could take it one step further and I could say, now, if you want to get crazy on me, what I did was I'm going to give you an option for a softener. This is just so that you can start thinking about it for the future. You're already having a lot of problems in the home. If in the future you ever want to do a softener, I'll give you this as a reference. Here's the model. Here's the name of the one we do. Here's the warranty on it. Here's the price we normally charge. If you want to do some research, some price comparisons, whatever you want to do. Now, a little bit later when I go to deliver options, I'm going to bring that back up and value stack that. I'm going to get creative with my options. So in the diagnosing phase, I might say to them, hey, look, let me repair. We can give you an option to repair this. I also probably can give you an option to replace it. While I'm at the option of replacing it, I may give you a couple of options with those shutoffs just so you can kind of see what the price difference is, and then you can make whatever decision you want. And they go, well, I just want to get it repaired today. I say, great. Then I'll leave it for future records. And they go, okay. I've given them out. They don't feel pressured. They're going to let me quote it. I can't sell it if I don't quote it. I can't sell it if I don't offer it. I can't sell it if they don't understand it. I can't sell it if they don't even know about it. So now they know about it, they understand it, and I'm quoting it. And I'm telling them they can do it in the future, and they surely can do it in the future. How many of you have looked at something in a store, thought about it for the future, and then put it in your cart for today? And we've all done it. And if you haven't, you're lying. We've all done it. It's just human nature. So now go back to this idea of diagnosing more. Then we get to the options. Now I'm going to create 3 intelligent options. Look, I'm not going to close them with my words. I'm going to close them with my deal. Option 1, no discount. I'm here to repair that faucet. You need me to repair that faucet. You want me to have $10,000 worth of parts on my truck so I can be ready to repair your one cartridge? That's like going to a convenience store and looking at 3,500 different cold drinks and only wanting one. It's going to be expensive. It is. It just is. And you made me drive out here. I'm liable for your plumbing system. Like, it's going to be expensive. It's honestly not going to be enough. It's going to be more than you want to pay, and it's going to not be enough for what we want to charge. Option 2, hey, look, you want to buy a 12-pack? You want to buy a 12-pack of soda, not just one? We don't have to keep it cold for you. I can put it on the aisle. I can give you a deal on that. I'm getting a deal when I buy it like that, so I can give you a deal. So now this comes a volume discount, wholesale, retail, the difference in margin, all that stuff that you hear in the world. That's what we're talking about. So now it's like, well, normally if all I was doing was the one shutoff, yeah, it's got to be like $285, $300. It's got to be more expensive than it needs to be, but not enough. If I'm doing both of them, I only have to bleed the system down once. Sometimes it's easier to replace both shutoffs than to try to work around one. Sometimes it's not. So I might give you a buy one get one half off price if I'm doing both of them. If I'm doing it with a new faucet though, heck, a lot of this work's already here. I already have to shut water off the main, so the water's already going to be bled down. This isn't really that hard, especially if it's like 6 inches of PEX coming up on a straight stop. Just cut it, throw a new stop on. It might be easier for me to connect to with the supply lines to the new stop I put on than the one they had. Also, as a professional, I don't want the shutoff to leak after I leave and for them to think it was me after they spent $850 on my new faucet. Now we get into the softener. Well, the softener is going to be, $15 to hard pipe it in, and then another $2,800 for the softener. So we've turned the call into like a $4,300 call because they don't even have a bypass, or maybe a $2,600 call because they have a bypass but no softener. Well, whatever the thing is, but man, that's exponentially increasing the value of the call, the transaction, Company's happy. If you're on commission or results-based economy, you're happy. But more importantly, the customer's going to be happy if they want to do it, because you're giving them the option to just repair whatever. And that's great. That gives them the chance to do what they want to do. You're giving them a secondary chance to kind of reset the clock on the faucet and get a couple of shutoffs out of the deal. But in the third option, you're like, look, I'll throw in the faucet and the shutoffs if you buy the water heater and bypass. Because at that point, you're up to $4,200. And a lot of people this is where you guys get lost a lot in the emotion, but don't. It's like, well, hold on. I could charge $800 for that shutoff, and I could charge $250 for this. I mean, $800 for the faucet, $200 for the shutoff. But the reality is, no one's going to spend $1,200 at full price while they're upgrading to an unnecessary softener. It's just not realistic that people are going to buy all of the add-ons and all the upgrades, not the necessities, but all of the add-ons and upgrades at full retail price. There has to be something in it for them beyond, or you have to get really good at selling. Like, you have to get really good at convincing and getting them to want to buy it. But if the deal is there and you could showcase the damage that's being done by not taking the upgrades, now it all jives, now it all fits. Now it's just a money decision. So I'm going to change the decision in the home. I'm no longer going to try to get them to get excited about spending $350 or $400 to repair the faucet, because they're not going to. Instead, I'm going to get them excited about saving $1,100 because they bought the softener. I'm going to change the decision. I'm no longer going to have them hating that they have to spend too much for something, and I'm going to start showing them how to get excited about saving, turning it from an expense into an investment. Because in the other scenarios, like, look, I'll gladly throw in the kitchen faucet, which costs about $150, and 2 shutoffs was another $15 each or $12 each or whatever. We're at like let's call the faucet even $250. It's a nice one. $300. I'll go crazy. $300 faucet with $40 in shutoffs. It's $340. Would you right now, for every leaking faucet, if they were willing to drop $2,800 to $4,200 on a softener, would you be willing to do the faucet for free? I think the answer is yes. If it's not, you need to go back and re-listen to this and hear it the right way, because you're not doing the math. A lot of you are like, I'm not doing nothing for free, but I'll drive for free. I'll drive to the next house for free. I'll diagnose for another 30 minutes for free. I'm not giving that customer a free faucet. They can either pay for the softener in the faucet, or they can just get the faucet. But you're the one driving half your day, and I'm the one plumbing half my day. And the difference is while you might get more per hour when you plumb, I'm getting more per hour per day, because you're driving for free and reducing that. You can get $500 an hour. But if it takes you a half hour to drive to that call, another half hour to diagnose, you sell a 1 hour little fill valve or whatever for some outrageous price, $500 for a fill valve, which is crazy, right? That you killed it. Good job. And then what happens? You drive. So that took you a half hour to get there, half hour to diagnose, another half hour to do the work, 15 minutes to clean up, 15 minutes to collect payment. There's 2 hours of your day. You do that again. That's another 2 hours of your day. 4 hours in, you're at $1,000. That's on $500 fill valves, by the way. Everyone's got to be okay with that price, and you got to be. That's hard. $500 fill valves. You're at $2,000 by the end of the day. I'm at $4,200 by the end of the day, and I gave away a free faucet and shutoffs. Or I'm at $2,800 in about 3 hours, because they already had a bypass, and I just had to install a softener and shutoffs and a faucet. 3 hours in, and I'm at $2,400. 8 hours in. You're at, but man, you killed it, bro. $500 fill valves. Then you sat in traffic for 4 hours for that day. And you just diluted your hour. You went back down to $250 an hour. You were making $500 per sold hour, but you only made $250 per hour. Where I went out $2,800. Shoot, I sold the softener for $2,200, gave it away, and gave him a faucet, and gave him and I only needed one lead. So whatever that costs. I only had to drive to one call, whatever that costs. And I only lost 1 hour of my day for drive time and diagnosing. The rest of it was spent working. And I made $2,200. And let's just say I even gave away the bypass. I would never do this, by the way. I would never give away the bypass and all that stuff. But I'm just making a point. Even if you do all of that, the guy at $2,200, or we'll call it 24, so it's even math, is at $300 an hour. And the guy at $500 a fill valve is only $250 an hour. Yeah, he's selling his stuff for more, but he's losing it back on the next drive. Not to mention 3 more leads, 3 more customers who aren't excited about what they bought. So you got 4 customers who ain't telling no one, and I got 1 customer who's telling everyone about their great deal they got. I might even be generating leads because of my deal. Don't miss this. Do not miss this point. This is a game changer. Relationship, diagnose, value stack. It's all about the introduction and first impression at the front door. Then pitching yourself as a qualified individual with confidence at the front door, saying, I'm here to fix your toilet. Unfortunately, I see a lot of these. I'm here to fix your toilet. Unfortunately, I see a lot of these. Do you mind if I come in? Then you discovery. Then you diagnose. Then you ask questions about their problem, previous problems, the condition of the item. Do they like the item? Do they not like the item? How long have you lived here? How old's the home? You're learning everything you can about that scenario, getting them to talk openly about everything, and they're starting to see the evidence that you're seeing. You're putting together a case, and then you're doing your presentation with your options, and then your close is the deal in that third option. Because even if they pick option one, at least the focus is no longer 400 or 0 or 400 or someone else. It's 400 or 2,800. 3 options every time. We just did this podcast 2 podcasts ago. 3 options every time. You've got to get this down. You get this down, your conversion goes up, your average goes up, your production goes up, your paycheck goes up, your value goes up. I love you. Remember, it's all in the name of service, though. We're not out there trying to get people to buy anything. We're just showing them the bigger solutions to the small problems they think they have, and then educating them so they understand what's really going on with their system. Listen, I love you, and as always, remember, serve your community in everything, not just plumbing. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Plumbing Sales Coach podcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and check us out on the web at theplumbingsalescoach.com.